Why aren't you making a big case for the NBA to add Dirk to the All-Star game roster? And I just thought, because, I'm afraid how bad it might look, I guess. And then he goes to the game, and he's just terrific. And not only did he shoot,
actually one of his better All-Star games. You look at his
is that
historically. Right? I mean, the All-Star game just doesn't really fit his style.
Yeah,
and he's not. He doesn't have the ego to where he feels he has to shine in that group either. You have to be ego-driven, and you have to have the very athletic above the rim game to really flourish.
Like bounce the ball off the floor and then catch it about 4 feet above the rim, like the Greek
great
freak
play
did.
That was.
Oh my gosh!
Isaiah Thomas did that before earlier, but it wasn't the level of execution wasn't what we saw with.
I thought that Antetokounmpo was going to hit his head.
Oh my gosh!
On the top of the backboard. I mean, it's just on the bottom of the backboard. It's unbelievable. So, and I want to ask you about this. Did you notice the reaction of the players and the fans when Dirk made his three, as opposed to when Dwayne Wade made his three? When Dwayne made his, and I'm not saying that he's not a liked player, but the difference between the two was unbelievable. Because everybody thinks this is the last tour for both of them, right? Two great players, two guys who won NBA titles. And Wade makes his, and nice applause, everybody claps. And Dirk makes his that first three, and guys are coming off the bench, they're waving towels. I think maybe it's not so much a commentary on Dwayne Wade as it is on Dirk Nowitzki.
No, I think there are athletes who are respected and admired, and I think there are some athletes who are beloved in their approach. And I think certainly locally Dirk is beloved, but I think you see in that reaction that there is a big part of that among his peers. And I think a lot of it was, he's again not your classic guy. I mean, he was a 7-foot outside shooter when still, people were questioning, well, that just means you're not tough enough to be inside more. Where's your post game?
Right.
He was really unapologetic with it, and with Don Nelson, didn't see the need to do it. So I think he helped, accelerate big men shooting threes and pushing it out. But all that being said, I think also that he always had this knock, in my mind, that was unwarranted, that he wasn't a tough player. Well, he wasn't a tough player as far as getting in guys' faces and being overly physical with them. But he was always a tough, resilient player from the standpoint that, guys Kurt Thomas and other guys in the league would just, beat the hell out of him when he did go down low. Mm-hmm. He didn't complain. He wasn't whining for calls all the time like a Tim Duncan was. He just took the pounding. If he made the shot, fine. If not, he would, but he stood in there and he took so much physical punishment. And he's just this big, goofy guy who likes to have fun, and he still is. And he's so unassuming and so his ego is so unlike so many other elite athletes. I think after a while, people he's a guy who just kind of brings a smile to your face when you see him and you want to pull for him. And I will say this, you're saying the other difference in Dwayne Wade and Dirk Nowitzki. Well, Dwayne Wade's having a much better season this year, and he's a much more of a part of that team of Miami's success than Dirk is of Dallas's success. Mm-hmm. There are times when Dirk just doesn't look like he belongs out there. Now, that's because of the injury early. The question is, over these final 30 or so games, can he work his way back to where he was last year, which was still a player who could produce and a guy you want on the floor at key times of the games. He's not that right now. So I think to kind of show that flourish over 4 minutes, reminded everybody of the player he was, and was just the perfect setting. And that's all he needed to play, that spurt.
Oh, absolutely.
If he would have gone back in, he wouldn't have added to that at all. He wouldn't have burnished his. I mean, what a perfect feeling for him to have and for his teammates to have. So, yeah, I think there are a lot of reasons you saw that reaction when Dirk did what he did in that game.